Fairy Tales Collection. 1. Cinderella. A long time ago, a kind woman and a rich businessman got married, and they had a beautiful and lovely daughter named Ella. Unfortunately, when Ella was still young, her mother became ill and died. Ella's father married a stepmother, who moved into Ella's home with her 2 daughters, and her stepmother and 2 sisters did not like Ella and usually treated her badly. Fortunately, her busy father still loves her very much. Even though he often works late before returning home, he always gives Ella a big hug when he arrives home, so that Ella will not feel too lonely. Ella's father's work was really too busy, leaving early and returning late every day, hardly ever taking a good rest in order to give his family a better life. Too tired life made his body weaker and weaker, and he died in a sudden emergency. With the loss of her most valued relative, Ella's heart is suddenly left without support, but even though she weeps with sadness, she cannot get her stepmother and sister to give her any sympathy and love, and their attitude towards Ella becomes harsh. Since her father's death, her stepmother and her 2 sisters have become increasingly strict with Ella, even treating her like a maid and making her do all the household chores, washing clothes, cleaning the house and cooking for the family every day. Her stepmother did not allow Ella to have any rest time and often found reasons to scold or beat her, making Ella feel very aggrieved and helpless. Her tired expression, increasingly worn clothes, and dirty apron gradually made people who saw her call her Cinderella instead, and gradually forgot her original name. Despite this, Ella did not lose hope and courage because of this difficult situation. Even though she felt sad, she always thought of her father and mother in her prayers and kept telling herself that no matter how hard life was, she still had the right to be happy. One day, the king held a grand ball for the newly minted prince, and all the girls in the country were invited. Ella also wanted to go to the ball, but her stepmother refused to let her go, saying that she only had a tattered and old housework outfit, which was not suitable for wearing to the ball, and that she should not be ashamed of herself at the ball. She felt that she was such a Cinderella, not qualified to participate in such a party, and she would never have the chance to be happy again. But after her stepmother and sisters left the house in a gorgeous manner, Ella's fairy godmother suddenly appeared in the evening. The fairy godmother used her magic to help her put on a beautiful dress, gave her a pair of crystal dancing shoes, and turned the pumpkin into a carriage to take her to the prince's ball. But the fairy godmother tells her that the magic only lasts until midnight, so Ella must not go home too late, or she will suddenly turn back into Cinderella after the clock strikes midnight. When Ella arrived, all eyes were drawn to her as she stepped out of the carriage. Her beauty and graceful movements attracted the prince's attention, so he invited Ella to dance one dance after another and kept chatting with her. But Ella knew that the fairy godmother's magic would not last long, so when the clock struck 12 midnight, she had to leave the ball in a hurry, but because she ran too fast, she accidentally left a crystal shoe behind. The prince, who cannot leave the palace at will, has fallen in love with this mysterious girl and vows to find her again, and the crystal shoe Ella accidentally left behind becomes the only clue. When her stepmother and sisters return from the ball, they discover that the ordinary Cinderella is the mysterious girl that the prince is obsessed with. The prince is not the only one who has a chance to meet again. However, the prince was unable to find the mysterious girl and ordered a messenger to take the fallen crystal shoe to all the girls in the country to try it on, in order to find the person he missed most in his heart no matter what. The prince sent messengers with the crystal shoes to all over the country for people to try on, but they could not find the right girl. Finally, the messenger arrived at Ella's house, and her stepmother and two sisters tried to put their feet into the crystal shoes, but no matter how they tried them on, they could not fit into the magic-created crystal shoes. And then the messenger found Cinderella locked up in the attic and invited her to try them on. The messenger is happy to have found the prince's beloved, but his stepmother and two sisters drive the messenger away and prevent him from taking Ella back to the prince's castle. The fairy godmother appears and tells Ella to put on the crystal shoes she left behind, and once again turns into a magic carriage to take her to the prince's castle. But the stepmother and sisters did not want them to leave, so they used all their strength to block Ella, crying desperately to block the way out, and the stepmother also tried to tear Ella's clothes so that she could not get out, but the fairy godmother protected her and used magic to help Ella escape the obstruction of the stepmother and sisters, and turned out a dress for Ella again and accompanied her to the prince's castle. When Ella arrived at the prince's castle, she was surprised to find the prince at the entrance of the castle. The messenger had rushed back to the castle and told the prince that he had found the girl he had been looking for, but had been interrupted by her family, so the prince intended to go to meet Ella himself. The prince found Ella and looked at her with affection. At this time Ella told the prince her story and said that she was just a Cinderella after removing her magnificent magic. But the prince looked at Ella and invited her to visit his castle, walked with her around every corner and told her that what he liked was not the gorgeous appearance, but the beauty inside. They watched the butterflies flying around the beautiful flowers in the garden. They also danced with them, and as time gradually passed, Ella lost her magic and returned to the costume of Cinderella, but she found that she had not changed in the eyes of the prince. She was also attracted by the prince's deep love. The prince had fallen in love. When the prince asked her to marry him, Ella said yes. The prince brings Ella to the palace and asks the king for permission to marry Cinderella, and the king agrees, immediately announcing the prince's engagement to Cinderella to the whole country. The king was very pleased with Ella's beauty and honesty, and appreciated her personality of trying to live in the face of adversity, thinking that she could help the prince to mature and better assume the responsibilities of the next king. Ella and the prince had a grand wedding at the palace, and everyone came to bless them outside the palace. Her fairy godmother also came to participate, and used magic to create a very gorgeous set, making the wedding even more romantic and grand. The stepmother and her two sisters saw Ella and the prince snuggling happily together in the crowd, no longer the Cinderella, and the happiness and joy of the people around them seemed to have infected them, so they also silently offered their blessings together with everyone, praying that this unrelated relative could live a good life. On this day, the whole country rejoiced and blessed their prince and princess with eternal happiness.